right, 13 minutes can pass the hour of 5. It's a pleasure having you on the other side of the radio. I'd like to say welcome to Hard Facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Better still, welcome back. I am Kalada Kurubatbo. Now, like I said, there's something that I'd like to bring to your attention, something that I saw on the pages of the newspapers, and it has to do with the qualifications needed or necessary for qualification. Okay, I mentioned qualification already. Sorry, my mind is everywhere. It is the qualification needed to become president or lawmaker in Nigeria. Now, you would remember that during the Buhari's administration, this debate lingered for a long time, a very long time. For a long time, people were shouting and screaming, oh, my goodness, where is your certificate? Where is your certificate? Did you go to school? And then because a lot of people were not aware or were not necessarily conscious of that section of the Constitution, we got to know that the primary requirement, is your school. Just prove that you're able, that you attended rather, is it the primary school and you're able to get your school leaving certificate. It doesn't really matter whether you passed or not. And the equivalent. We were told that. We learned that. Right? We learned that. And I think why the conversation lingered was because I think the former president has submitted a WAEC as his certificate. And they were asking, where is the original certificate? So there was the back and the forth for a long time. However, for about 8 years, that debate was very rife. And the debate was that should a school set holder become president or be allowed to become president in the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Now, some people argue, and people are still arguing up until today, that if I can't get a job at a government parastatal ministry or agency because I have not served NYSC and I have not gone to the university or any tertiary institution, then why should the highest office of government be occupied and the qualification would be that of a school set holder? We saw that conversation reach a crescendo, reach a climax when it was time for another election, and this time it was the president at the time, a presidential candidate of the APC, that was under under scrutiny. Now, some people also extended that scrutiny to Peter Obi, who was the presidential candidate for the Labour Party. Oh my. And the debates up until now still tarries as to whether these persons are properly qualified to herald, to be at the helm of affairs when we talk Nigeria. So let's quickly go to the National Assembly, where for a while now there has been the conversation, the talk about a bill that is asking for the minimum educational qualification for anybody who is attempting to be a president or a lawmaker to be that of an higher, how do they call it now? Higher education, right? That of an higher education. Yeah. Now, some people said that despite the fact that the Constitution says school, school set holder, a lot of people have still been seen to be forging certificates. We've seen that play out a lot. We've seen that people have, I'm talking about lawmakers. Currently, I think there is a Bayelsa State Senator who is going through a process of verifying. I think he's been arrested now. I can't remember, but I read that story not too long ago. I think he's been arrested as well. And it has to do with forging certificates. And people are asking, and people have been asking, why do you even have to forge your certificate when it says school set holder? Now, I want us to bring that debate on the show. And remember, nobody's opinion is better than another. Just give your opinion. You're entitled to it, as long as you're not insulting the person, as long as you're not abusing anybody, and as long as it is not destructive, a comment. Yes, then you're entitled to your opinion. So we're going to go, and I'm going to read from this article. Reps, okay, now I remember, it's the House of Reps, oppose bill seeking to raise educational qualification for president lawmakers. Now, some members of the House of Representatives on Tuesday moved against the bill seeking to increase the educational qualification for election into the office of the president. Now, the bill, sponsored by Adewumi Onanuga, a lawmaker from Ogun State, proposed the legislation intended to also raise the minimum academic qualification for election as a governor, states and federal lawmakers. Now, Section 65, Section 106, Section 131 and 177 of the 1999 Constitution stipulates that a person must be qualified for election into the aforementioned elective offices if he or she has been educated up to at least school certificate level or its equivalent. But the new bill seeks to raise the qualification to at least a university degree level or its equivalent. Now, leading the debate on the bill, Onanuga said the race for elective offices at both state and national levels has become increasingly competitive. The lawmaker argued that it could be counterproductive if people who are not sufficiently prepared educationally get into those elective offices. If a managing director who holds an equally strategic position in a company within this country cannot be employed without a university degree or its equivalent, why should the above political offices be held by people without a university degree or its equivalent, she asks. Now the debate. While supporting the bill, Babajimi Benson, chairman of the House Committee on Defense, said it is unreasonable to oppose the bill. Julius Yuonvebre, the majority leader, said the bill should exclude people at the local government from the requirement. In his debate, Leke Abijide from Kogi said the bill should be essential to reduce mediocrity in the political system. It's getting interesting. Just take a listen. If you put a mediocre to be in a political office, it will be dangerous for the country, Abejide said. Now, Kingsley Chinda from Rivers State said the standard of education has declined over the years, and it is important that the minimum educational qualification for elective offices be raised. I hope you're taking note of the arguments or the debate by the various lawmakers at the House of Representatives. Now, our own representative from Rivers State, Kingsley Chinda, said due to the standard of education nowadays, it is very okay for the standard or the minimum qualification to be increased to at least a university degree. That's a bachelor's degree or its equivalent, which could be HND and the likes, right? Now, he said raising the educational qualification would encourage Nigerian youths to go to school, which I agree. He said we should support the bill with every strength of ours. Now, however, Ali Madaki, a lawmaker from Kano State, this is getting interesting. I'm sorry, my excitement is beginning to show. He kicked against the bill, arguing that leadership quality is not determined by educational qualification. Do you agree? Madaki, who said he was an MBA, noted that he was not speaking for himself, but for all Nigerians who may not have the means to obtain degree qualification. This is not the right bill, he said. Ahmed Jahar from Borno also voiced opposition to the bill, citing United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization requirement that a country's education budget should not fall below 26%, a benchmark Nigeria has never attained. Why should Nigerians be punished because of the failure of their state? Qualification is not a true test of knowledge. We should not make laws that favor a few Nigerians, he said. Onanuga succumbed to pressure and requested that the bill be halted for further legislative deliberation. Ben Kalu, the Deputy Speaker of the House who presided over the plenary, ruled on Onanuga's request and steps down the bill. And it's funny that the article only captured about 3 or 2 opposing views, and yet that bill was stepped down. Now, step down, I believe, means that they may revisit the conversation, and that is why I have brought it to our own plenary. So you and I, as the people who the government is representing, can tell ourselves how we feel about this. Now, one person said, qualification is not a true test of knowledge. Do you agree? Another said that educational standards have fallen, and as such, the minimum, because back in the days, our parents, and our forefathers, our forebears, had quality education at primary and secondary school level. And that's why even those who did not go to the university, when you hear them speak, when you hear them talk, they sound very intelligent and smart. But can we say that of these days? And of course, like Kingsley Chinda said, we need to encourage our children to go to school because the out of school children numbers are very high. Anyways, we'll go for a quick commercial. When I come back, I'd like to take your views on this issue on the review. Stay tuned, please.
Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
So that's how we got to the restaurant too. And it was amazing.
Ladakuru Batabo. This is Hard Facts and 92.3 Nigeria Info. I hope you're having a swell time today. For those of you celebrating Valentine, for those of us who are working, yes, we still will talk for development. And I'd like to get your thoughts. So I told you just before the commercial that the bill to increase the educational qualification for those who want to run for the offices of president, governor, or lawmakers, either at the state or federal level, the bill has been stepped down, and I'm wondering what you're thinking about, this issue. Remember, the people at the House of Representatives are your representatives, and do you think that, the one from Rivers State, Kingsley Chinda, one of the lawmakers from Rivers State has argued, well, I like to hear, do you think that we need to increase the educational qualification? What are the positives? But then looking at the argument from the lawmakers in the northern part of the country, do you think they also have an argument? I mean, our educational system is flawed. Our educational system is not working as it should. A lot of people are out of school. I think I did see a figure that it may have reached about 20 million young people who are out of school, and now tomorrow you would say those people cannot be elected into positions of the president, the governor, or as lawmakers. So I mean, let's look at this argument and let's get your thoughts. 08179230002, 08179230003. WhatsApp number 0809030616. All right, WhatsApp, I greet you, Kalada, once more. It tells you the caliber of people who are our lawmakers, and an issue as important as this mediocrity in our leadership have been opposed by some legislators. What a shame on the opposing lawmakers. Buhari's leadership was full of ineptitude, mediocrity, and sundries. That is what has kept us where we are today. Yet some legislators wanted to continue. I weep for Nigeria. Imal Taka in Choba. This one says, Mr. K, I totally agree that education is not key to knowledge. I have seen educated persons without leadership qualities. Leadership knowledge comes from God, not man. KC Bomba. All right. This one says, no matter how high they raise the qualification of public office holders, it won't work because Nigerian leaders are not passionate and they lack vision. Stomach qualification is their motto. The bigger your stomach, the higher your public office. Bright now from OG. This one says, okay. I will. Okay, I think it's not for me. It's not for me, so I'm going to move on now. This one says, as expected, a particular region of the country would go against such a move that ordinarily does not require a debate. Escobar, do you think it doesn't require a debate? Well, let's listen to Emi Fiaga, who says some Nigerians should learn to understand English language when spoken or written. The constitutional requirements to be a governor or president in the eyes of the law says minimum requirements. This means the least or smallest education qualification is school leaving certificate. This simply means that an aspirant or a candidate seeking to be governor or president in Nigeria can possess all the higher certification, but the minimum certificate should be school leaving certification. This is intended to prevent discrimination of qualified citizens on the ground of certification. We had PhD holders as governors and president. What manner of socio-economic and political transformation did they deliver to Nigerians? Also, every member of the National and State Assembly who are debating on this particular bill and now are holders of tertiary education certificates. What are they delivering to Nigerians now? I agree the certificate is not a true test of knowledge in Nigeria. Besides, people now buy certificates in the country. Right, Emi Fiaga, thank you very much. Wow, wonderful arguments there. So it says the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, the most loving and lovable President of the United States, did not go through the process of formal education. However, there is the argument that the standard of education back then and the standard of education now, there is a lot of disparity. And even if you argue that it's just the minimum, is making the minimum school leaving certificate good enough? Can we also say that a school living certificate holder can be, top in the civil service? I'm just wondering. I'm just asking. I've got Muriel from Okrika. Muriel, welcome. What is on your mind? Please tell me. Hello, Muriel.
Yeah, Kedibi, good evening.
Yeah, greetings to you. Welcome.
Thank you. Look, for me, I think we place too much premium on a certificate in this part of the world, honestly.
Okay.
And that's why you see that even people that cannot even afford it, they struggle themselves, to get a university certificate, and at the end of the day, they come out with no jobs and they are so frustrated. KDB, for me, I think what we should be looking at, the criteria for leadership should be a person who has successfully managed a business from scratch to the highest level. The CEOs of multinational companies in this part of the world, in Nigeria, those, I think that is the required qualification. If you're able to manage your personal business successfully, manage people successfully, then I think you can manage Nigeria, not certificates.
All right.
Look, KDB, you know that the former vice president was a professor, right? Yeah, he was a professor. Now tell me, KDB, he was a professor to a president that there were controversies concerning his just little YX certificate. And tell me his input. Whenever he comes on air, he will give us heavy grammar. He will be so fluent in English. He's so fluent. That is all.
But Muriel, some argue that whenever he was charged, was around the first time that administration. So, okay, I was saying that some people argue. I mean, on the streets, even on social media, we had people, or we saw people argue that when the VP then was, in control of the government, that they saw certain positive changes. The first time of their time in office, they saw changes whenever the VP Oshibajo was, they're controlling things. So what's your argument to that effect?
Hello, KDB. Though the line is breaking, but let me just round up.
Okay, please do.
Yeah, we observe one or two changes. We know, I saw myself, okay, he's not directly on the wheel, He whenever the president was not around, when he comes on, he just brings up one or two policies. He was the one that even tried to initiate these modular refineries. But trust me, KDB, the current president now, he has some certificates, some good certificates. And what is he doing now?
Okay.
Canada, we have educated illiterates all over, littered all over. We even have some persons that have first-class certificates that cannot even bring up outputs that is qualifying as in that is commensurate to their certificates. So what are we saying? In this part of the world, you can sort your way out of the university and come up with a 2-2,
all right.
2-1.
All right.
All
right.
So what is certificate all about?
All right.
It's just about management.
All right.
What Nigeria needs is managerial skills.
The managerial skills.
Manage this, it's like a
but
certificate doesn't necessarily build business.
Okay.
It is your mental capacity.
All right,
if you can manage a business, build it from scratch to the epsilon, to the highest level, international level, then you can manage Nigeria, not your certificate. Your certificate cannot manage this country for us. Your certificate cannot do anything.
All right. Thank you, Muriel. I've got Chineye from Owerri. Chineye, welcome.
Yeah, hello, good evening, Kalada. Right?
Yeah, Kalada it is, yeah. Greetings to you.
That's Kalada with a K.
Yeah, K, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well, for me, I feel sincerely so sad and super heartbreaking to have that bill step down, but then I'm not surprised.
Okay.
Most of us as citizens and then our leaders, we aren't patriotic.
How do you mean?
Trust me, for me, I'm tired of having mediocres ruin the affairs of this country, because that's where we are, the level we are. And I'm happy you asked that lady that question about as regards to Professor Sibanjo, the positive changes he brought about the little time he had to run affairs when the president
were there positive changes? Because people say they were, but were there really positive changes?
What did you say?
I'm asking, were there really positive changes? Because I was only quoting what people were saying, but were there really positive, in your opinion, were there positive changes there?
You asked me if there were positive changes.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead. I guess it's network. Just go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, then that Sosibanjo was running the affairs when the president was not around, there were positive changes.
Okay.
Yeah. I felt impact. Even I think then at that time, the naira appreciated at the time, yeah. So for me personally, she made reference to Opito. Opito is a PhD holder, he's a doctor. Opito, because he doesn't like being addressed as a doctor. Right?
Okay.
For me personally, I can't see minimum requirements to be an O level, O level certificate to be the minimum requirement.
Okay.
Personally, I feel because when we look at the naira fall in naira right now, the economic reality, the hardship, the high cost of living, and then the inflation. Trust me, I feel if we have had professors, majorly the ones in economics, like economic professors run the affairs of this country. For me personally, my lecturers said I would even love them to be at the head of affairs in this country. Because that way, personally, I would want to challenge them because on Monday, I had to submit an assignment. And then I was asked to give 3 strategies of a way of improving the balance of payment deficits that Nigeria is currently facing. Yeah, I had to do the assignment, but I was really displeased with myself because in the answers that I wrote down, I got to understand that, Nigeria, we are our own problem. You see this situation whereby things that work in same climes, it's not applicable in the Nigerian system. Why? Like, I don't understand.
All right, Chine, I've got to go, but thank you very much. Thank you very much for your thoughts there. I've got to go now. I'm sorry. Let's see. This one says the northern lawmakers said passing the bill will favor some sections of the country. Did those other sections stop northerners from attending school? So unfortunate. Okay, all right, so unfortunate indeed. But I've got to go for a commercial break, another one. When I do come back, we'll continue. But first, I guess we would have the major news at 6. Do stay tuned.
Hello, listeners. This is